information about what you guys received.
Thank you guys for coming, first of all. As you guys might imagine, all these came from collectors and people who oftentimes apparently don't like one another. So it's been some work, but I want to introduce, first of all, actually, I want to thank everybody who contributed, because it's, you ought to get them in here. Where's the hat? I don't know where they're all at. But we have Manuel, actually, from Ad Nauseam. Put a lot of this together. I actually asked him, what do you think about this? And he said, do it, but if you're going to do it right. And he introduced me to a couple more people. Manuel released, I believe, Manson did. Maybe. Well, it's available here. It's the last few copies that are out, so staff here. But I want to at least give everybody a shout out. So we have all the contributors and the collections come from Black Wolf, Gary Pressman from Capitol Gallery, Eric Bessery, Ryan and JD at Museum of Death, John A.S. Nile, Nicholas Schreck, who we flew out from Berlin, Michael Channels, Manuel, who we introduced, and we also have Michael, sorry, we also have Dennis that flew out here, and Nicholas is coming also. But we also have a little special treat that we kind of didn't drop the news on yet, but I'm going to spoil it for you guys. We have Charles Manson's son here, Michael Bruner. He's in here somewhere.
He like just walked out and
Hey, you.
Can you speak up a little bit?
No, the young man.
Thank you. I'll say Michael Bruner, everyone. Clap it up. Right. Clap it up. Larry Truxman. Johnny Style with the camera. Black Wolf back there. So I want to give thank you to all of you guys for participating. You know, I really want to do something special for everybody. I know this has been a lot of years of your guys' dedication, so hopefully we did a good job. So thank you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I want to have, Michael, give us a couple of words of your collection. You contributed the mass majority of it, so I'd love to hear your thoughts and how this all came to be for you.
It's, can you hear in the back? Do I need to speak louder? Okay. It probably started because I wanted an autograph from Charles Manson almost 30 years ago now. I tried for probably 50 letters, write the guy, just to get one autograph from him. And then after I got the autograph from him, then it became like the next autograph from him. And then when you'd read the letters from him, you'd be like, oh, I need the next letter from him. I kind of got obsessed with the guy. Then I got obsessed with trying to follow, like, not in his footsteps, but to go to all the places that he had possibly been. From his childhood home, to the prison that his parent was in, to his uncle was in, to Barker Ranch, to Spawn, and everywhere I went, I tried to take a piece of it, you know. Most of the times I tried to take it legally, like the stuff I got from Barker when it burned down. The Bureau of Land Management said I could have what was there. They were just, the rest of Barker Ranch is in a dump somewhere, away from Spawn Ranch. They hauled it all off, so that's basically all that's left now. And Spawn Ranch, I did the same thing. Just go around there, pick up things. Then Charlie, visiting Charlie, getting to know Charlie. Charlie is, he's a really dear person to me now. I never thought that from the very start, because at the very start I thought, hey, this Bugliosi book, it's great. Man, this Helter Skelter guy, I really want to meet the devil. I want to meet the boogeyman, pull him out from under my bed, and fuck with him a little bit. And basically, Manson pulled me out from under his bed and fucked with me a little bit. He's a guy that I don't think anybody understands. Some of the people that have known him for years, I don't think they still understand him. that's why he's so intriguing. It would be the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and before you know it, you got a massive collection of things from Charlie. And it didn't matter what he would give me either. I was at a visiting one day, and I was there when he was able to smoke cigarettes. And I didn't have any cigarettes when I was going home, and where his jail was, or where his prison is there's nowhere to buy cigarettes. So I says, hey Charlie, can I bum a cigarette off of you? And he gave me a cigarette, and I couldn't smoke it. I wanted to collect the cigarette from him. So it was like, it was an obsession with collecting. At first it was all about money, I guess, and it just changed into the guy became a friend. So all this stuff, that's basically the gist of it, on how I got it, you know, how I became friends. I wanted Manson's autograph, and I eventually got it. I actually got it in person one time, which was really cool to me, because there's not a lot of people that have in-person autographs from Charlie. But I can say I did. Is there any questions that anybody has? I can answer any questions about anything you've seen in here, probably. I know most things about.
I got a question. What's your favorite piece in your collection?
Well, it would have to be the will that Charlie granted me, but besides that, just getting to know him as a friend, honestly, was the greatest thing in my whole thing. You know, I just honestly love Charlie Manson as a person. Some people ain't going to understand that, but some people didn't get to meet him either, and talk to him, and get to know him, and get to know the real person that a lot of times the people out there who write books aren't portraying as that guy. When you meet Charlie Manson, you'll think, wow, these books were, if you're looking for that guy, you might not find him. You'll find other guys that are way more intriguing than the books, though, you know? So if they would have concentrated on the real guy and told the truth about the real guy, he would have still been as popular.
What was the most surprising thing in getting to know him that you could share with us? Something that really you.
What surprised me about him?
Yeah, what was something that you would have never known otherwise?
I don't know.
I got one. You shared with me when he said that he talks through the TV.
Yeah, he actually told me one time that he talked through the television to people. And I thought, he's full of shit. He's crazy. Nobody can talk through the television set to anybody. And I was in the visiting room with him one day, and I had two rings. I had 2 gold rings on my fingers, and he says, "Hey, let me wear those gold rings." And so I gave them to him, and he had them on his hands, and I thought he was trying to swipe them from me and not give them back to me. He wouldn't give them, the whole visit long, he's wearing my rings, and he stands up and he looks at me and he goes, "Do you know what this means?" And I said, "No." He goes, "It means I love you." Whatever the symbol is in sign language, I don't know. But to him, it meant I love you. And I'm cool with that. And finally, he would give me back my rings. And then one day I'm watching, I think it was Entertainment Tonight, and Manson pops on the screen, and he's doing that same thing with 2 gold rings on, and he's like looking dead at me, and in my head are these voices about how he's explaining the concept, and I'm thinking, damn, he's talking to me right through the television set now. So I explained that back to him, and he goes, exactly, that's how I talk to people in jail. You can't really say, hey, bring me that. So you have to make motions for that kind of shit. So all that kind of stuff that you've seen Charlie doing from time to time, he was actually talking. And he was talking to people through the television at times too, by doing that shit. So his friends knew actually what those symbols meant or signals meant, and so they could tell what he was saying to them through the television.
And I think one of the more interesting things that are kind of easy to miss is that tower back there with Shorty Shay. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Again, that's another thing, just collecting everything. And it was 10 years prior to the time that I went to dig in the same grave where the family dumped the body of Shorty Shay. And I followed the map from the Sheriff's Department, and on the Sheriff's Department map, all you had to do was, you had to have a Thomas Guide, which is a map book for California for people that aren't familiar with that. And they had it marked out on the letter A of Santa Susana Pass is right where, so I was like, I had the Thomas Guide and went right to the A and started digging and sifting it through this sieve I made. And I pulled out some bones and a wrench and a pipe. And I used to make a joke to people all the time. Yeah, I have the bones of Shorty Shay. Not really thinking that I took them from the same place, but I thought they were animal bones, deer, something like that. I didn't think there was a huge.
Can you explain who Shorty Shay was?
Shorty
For those that
Shay.
don't know.
Shorty Shay was a stuntman that worked at Spawn Ranch at the same time that Charles Manson and his family was there. Charlie said he was a snitch, and basically the family, somehow he ended up dead and buried on the ranch. Well, again, back to now I'm digging in the same spot. It was 10 odd years prior after that, one of the Manson family members gave up the location of where the bones were, and that got him out of jail. That's how the sheriff's department found out that this guy was at the ranch. Now I'm 10 years after that, now digging in the same spots with the same maps and digging up bones and wrenches and that sort of stuff. Now, 20 some years go by and a documentary from the History Channel was asking me, hey, what bizarre stuff do you have of Charlie? And everybody always asks you, do you have any letters where he wrote of bodies of people he killed? It's like, first off, I don't know anybody that he's killed. Secondly, no, I don't have any letters like that. And kind of jokingly to them, I said, but I do got the bones of Shorty in my garage. And they're like, really? And so I explained the whole story to them. And they says, can we have it tested? And I thought, okay, it's probably going to come out an animal bone or something like that, though. And they're like, that's all right. We still want to get it tested. I think they were going for like the dramatic factor of the show to later on say, we got them tested. They were animal bones at the very end. Well, then they called me on the phone after they got one of the bones tested, and the guy says, we got good news and we got bad news. What do you want first? I want the good news. What's the good news? Well, it's human remains. What's the bad news now? Well, we had to call the LAPD on you. So then I had to talk to the LAPD and the coroner about these bones. I had to explain the whole situation to them. And the guy from the LAPD, he was like a smart ass. He was like, we've got this case solved, because I really wanted to do the right thing. You know, hey, if you need these bones, we don't want your damn bones. And finally, I'm like, well, what do you want me to do with them? And he's like, you can take them back to the grave and shove them in there if you want. I don't give a shit what you do with them. Oh. I says, okay, I can buy an urn and I can keep them and I can keep the murder weapon and everything. He says, the case is solved, kid. We're done with it. Keep them. So I bought an urn, put him in there. And there's some pictures over there of the bones that I was actually holding. I don't quite do that anymore, but it was before. It was like when I was showing the History Channel, that's when I took those pictures of his bones in my hand. Then after I found out about it, I was really creeped out about the fact that I had this guy in my garage for 20 days.
Well, it's here at the gallows now. Pay respects down that way.
A bunch of issues about that.
Well, if there's any questions, we'd like to open it up. You know, Michael is pretty open, so you can say whatever you want. Any questions at all? No questions at all? Well, you gave him all the answers.
You have a question? She looks like she has a question. What's your question?
How do you reconcile the things that, bad things that he did, the murders, with your love and friendship to him, or how do you feel?
Like I said at the very beginning, I didn't start out as some kind of, hey, I like Charlie Manson. I like the fact that basically that he was a bad guy, but I didn't like that about it. I feel for the victims to this day. You know, I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think that he really had much responsibility in that. There's a lot of people that had responsibility in that. His was just as much as the rest of the people at Spawn Ranch. If he would have directly killed Sharon Tate with a knife, 50 stab wounds, like, I probably wouldn't have this remorse for the guy, but you know, first off, now I don't really think he did it because of a lot of things that I've looked into about the case. Do I think he directed people to do things? People did things that they thought they were directed to. He's good at convincing you to do shit and think it's your idea. So I don't know. He possibly could have done that. I really started liking him for the things that, you know, as normal people, when you talk to Manson, it's like, wow, I didn't realize he's really sweet, generous, funny, caring, kind. He gives money to other inmates so that their wives can come and visit them. He just things like that he does out of the kindness of his heart that he doesn't want. He donates things to charities so that they can sell it to give the money to kids. So he has a kind heart. And I became friends. You know, you sit and talk to somebody for long enough, you become friends with them or you begin to hate them. I just became friends with him.
Did he ever admit anything to you about?
Oh, he'll admit anything. He's open too. He'll talk to you about anything. And he's strong on the fact that he didn't tell anybody what to do. So,
Would you say he was a genius? You know, some people.
it depends on what day you were talking to him. Sometimes you would think he was a genius, and sometimes you would think he was totally nuts. Sometimes you would think, what? He's not the same guy that I was talking to yesterday. So he's all kinds of things. Certain days, no, I didn't like talking to him. Certain days, but was he my best friend? No, probably not. Was he anybody's best friend? Probably not.
Right. Well, any other questions, you guys? We got one back there. You're gonna have to shout it though.
Hi. So throughout the time that you became friends with him and started to get to know him better, is there anything that you wish that the majority of people would know about him?
She asked, is there anything throughout the time that I visited him that the majority of you want the majority of the people to know about him? I know several things. One thing, he's not a snitch. So you could because I've actually committed crimes with him. Well,
that just went out on YouTube.
No narc.
there's certain things you're not allowed to have in state prison that a lot of people that were his friends would get him in state prison. And he actually got caught one time. And the first thing I thought he was going to do was throw me under the bus. And he did 90 days in a hole, which is no clothes, no nothing. They don't even give you food on a tray. Just stand by without getting me in trouble. So I always thought, he said he wasn't a snitch, but I always thought, you probably are, like the rest. But I found out he really, and that really hit home to me because I was seriously thought I was going to get in trouble. So that. Yeah, go
Do you
ahead.
feel like there's some misconceptions or myths that a lot of people believe? Like right now, knowing, like,
Yeah, there's all kinds. One of them's a race war. Manson wasn't. There was that had nothing to do with Manson, really. He was no race war. There was a race war going on in America back at that time with the Black Panthers, and so it fit. It fit the scenario. Yeah, but Manson, he's not really even a racist. He's been segregated away from blacks all his life. He's never been around a black person really in his life. But he's not. I've never heard him use the N-word really. Maybe once or twice. It's not like he's not a racist, though. You know, so that's kind of a myth. You know, there's a lot of things. You know, most of the shit that you read in the book Helter Skelter, a lot of it is stretched truth. You know, it's not really that guy. Like I said, that guy's. He's really intriguing. They could have written books about the real guy rather than making up some guy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
How would you say that the church?
If you went into the situation as a weak person, some weak people actually want their minds controlled. So he would do that. I could see him doing that with people, but they went in willingly with almost like that. And he's such a strong character to figure out. You don't know what the hell he's doing anyway. You don't really know if he's just attaching to you on some other kind of level, or if he is trying to fuck with you, you know? And he does both. And depending on who the people would be, he's a hard person to figure out. He's really, I don't think he figured it out. I don't think anybody that's ever met him really has it figured out.
Any other questions, you guys? Hey, can you guys keep it down back there?
So I know there's a lot of fake stuff on social media, but for a while there was an intermittent account that seemed very convincing that was Charles. Was he ever on like Facebook from prison?
He was never on Facebook, but there are people that he had visit him who would tell him what to put on social media. So there would be times like there was Atlas sites like that actually a lot of things that they were saying he was probably telling them to say. Okay. So. But to Charles Manson on Twitter, no, that wasn't him.
Okay.
But there were things.
There was one Facebook account in particular that just seemed very legit, but it's probably what you're saying. It's probably an intermediary.
It probably was the inner workings of his friends who would give that information to that website and that webmaster, and he would put that out there. So yeah, in a way, Charlie was. He was running a website. He was running his own website back in 1997, 98, 99. It was called atwa.com. He even mentions it in a parole hearing. He's like, I ain't got time. I got to go back and look at my webpage. So he actually was on the internet all the way up until his death. And his thoughts are still on the internet now of what he told people to do. She asked, when did I realize that the guy was my friend? For the longest time, he didn't even consider me a friend. He thought I was fucking, he thought I was lying to him. He thought I was like the fucking guard, writing letters to him and shit. He thought I was telling him lies. So it's really hard to get trust from him. And even when you're there, you still don't trust him. You know, I have a picture where I had my arm around his neck. And he was really freaked out about that. And then later on he told me, he's like, I knew you weren't going to choke me. So he's always afraid. He was afraid that maybe at the times when you take a picture, maybe you're going to shoot me. So he's a really paranoid guy. You realize when they're not paranoid anymore, pretty close. Or when he would say, hey, I need eyeglasses, and you wouldn't even think about it in his body. You know? Like that.
Any last questions?
I talked to Star for a while, but then we had kind of I don't know, some kind of thing where I got pissed at her, and I never met her, but I don't have an ill feeling for her. But I never met her. It was kind of personal. It was a money thing. Charlie was supposed to be giving me I got irate. And I made a puppet show, a little star puppet. I put it on YouTube. And she told Charlie about it. And he got pissed at me. Called me on the phone and told me basically almost in a sad kind of way. I was like, why are you fucking with my friends? We're all friends. And I'm like, I'm not your fucking friends with your friends. I'm only friends with you. So I was like, I wish I would have done it now. Like they were putting in the middle of something like that.
Thank you guys. Show till Sunday, but tomorrow we have a screening of Saturday. Saturday we have a screening of Jesus Christ Superstar, the cult documentary by Nicholas Schreck, and he's going to do a Q&A with Michael Peter as well. So I think tickets are still available. Very few, but there are a few available. So that's at Zebulon on Saturday. Thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah. Charles Manson.